folks, Hoop, I'm back. I've been away for a little while. I apologize. Had a pretty busy last couple of months with all the college football season and this and that and getting ready for Christmas. But I'm back. We're going to try to rectify my absence. We're going to do a Christmas brisket. I went by Costco this morning and got a nice prime packer brisket, full packer brisket. We're going to trim it up and get it seasoned and ready to go. I'll put it on the pit probably Tuesday. This is Saturday. We'll cook it overnight and have it for Christmas dinner. So y'all stay tuned and I'll be back with you shortly. Okay folks, I'm back here. Going to trim this brisket. I'm not going to film it because it's kind of a long, tedious process and it just wastes a lot of time. But I buy prime briskets. I think they're the best. I mean, obviously they're the best quality, but I think it's worth the extra money when you get ready to do your brisket. Go ahead and spend the money and buy a prime. There are a ton of videos on YouTube that'll show you how to trim one. They're all pretty much the same. You trim them all the same way. So pick out one you like and watch it. And then I'm going to get started on this one here, and then I'll turn the camera back on after I've finished doing the trim. We'll start with the seasoning at that point. Okay, we've got it trimmed. We'll put some gloves on here and just kind of show you a little bit. I trimmed a lot off. I always do. I did not trim it like I was doing competition, so it's kind of it's a little more of a rough job. I didn't trim as much. It didn't make it perfectly round like you normally do in competition type things. But anyway, I've got the fat down to probably about 1/4 of an inch or so, most of the places here. Trimmed out some of this stuff. Also, I like to round off the edges because it's going to burn anyway. So you just kind of make sure you get a nice round edge across it. And that's about it. I'm going to cook it fat side down. Fat side up, lean side down, and let some of this fat kind of get on in, soak into it. As you can see, I did take a lot of trimmings here. There's a lot of meat in here, and there's a lot of beef fat, beef tallow. I'm going to cook some of this down to tallow, but I'm going to save some and put it in the freezer. And after maybe the next brisket I get, I'll take and run it through my meat grinder and make some brisket hamburgers. Anyway, it comes out real well, so it'll freeze pretty well. I'll vacuum seal it and stick it in the freezer, and it'll stay good for 6 months. But I'll use it before that. So okay, I'm gonna rub it. I'll just use salt and pepper rubs. All I use. And we'll go from there. Oh, one thing I want to mention is you really need a sharp knife. This stuff doesn't cut real easy, so just make sure you have a really nice sharp knife. But be careful because you can slice your finger wide open with these knives if they're truly sharp. But anyway, I'm pretty happy with that. We'll get it on the pit here after we get ready to and kind of bunch it up and let it go to town. Okay, folks. I've got it all rubbed. I use a binder, which most people do. I honestly don't think it makes any difference which binder you use. After it's cooked, you're not going to taste it anyway. I like Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce. I use it a lot on everything. I'll doctor it up some usually. But I've usually got at least a half a gallon in the cabinet of the refrigerator. So that's what I use for a binder. I've used yellow mustard. I've used spicy brown mustard. I've used olive oil. Again, I don't think it really makes much difference what you use. We've got some coarse ground black pepper on here and some kosher salt. And that's about it. That's how I cook mine. And we're gonna stick it in the refrigerator, cover it up, stick it in the refrigerator, and like I said, I'll put it on the pit Tuesday afternoon and let it cook all night, and hopefully it'll be worth eating. Hello folks, it's Old Hoop. I'm back. It is about 3 o'clock Christmas Eve afternoon. Got the Traeger. I'm firing it up right now, getting the smoke tube going. We're going to stick that brisket on here in a few minutes once the pit gets hot, and we're going to cook it till whenever it's done. I cook to temperature, not time, but we're going to try to eat tomorrow afternoon, 1-ish, and I'll definitely have this thing done by then. So y'all hang around. I'm going to go get it here in a few minutes, and I'll film it going on the pit, and then we'll talk again in the morning. Okay, I've got my probes in. It's not quite hot yet, but got the it's more of a flatter type biscuit. It's got a point and it's got a flat, but it's pretty even, so I think it's going to cook pretty well all pretty much the same time. Anyway, I've got a probe down here in the biggest, heaviest part. This is the hotter end of my pit, and that's the cooler end. So I'm going to put the bigger, thicker part down here at the hotter end. It runs about 7 to 10 degrees difference, give or take. It's not that close. It's not that big a deal. But then I've got 3 more probes in here, just kind of spread out and just kind of keep an idea of what the whole temperature is going to be. So we're going to let the pit come up to temp. We're going to get this thing on, and I'm also going to put on a little pan of the trimmings here. I trimmed all the meat away from them, but I've got a bunch of the fat, and I'm going to render me some tallow down while I'm at it. Anyway, be back here in a little bit. Okay, pit's almost to temp. It's about, I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 degrees away from being up to temp. Here is the beef fat part of the trimmings. I also made some hamburger meat. Ate it last night. It was very, very good too. So anyway, we're going to put this in on the top shelf here and just let it render. I know it's we're not going to drip it or anything, but it's just let it render down. This brisket should fit right up underneath it. We should be good. I'm going to grab me a pair of gloves right quick. We're going to slide this brisket in. Okay, and as Jackie Gleason would say, I know some of y'all aren't old enough to know who that even is, but, and away we go. I'll see y'all in, I don't know, 15, 16 hours or so, whenever this thing hits temperature. I'll be back. Good morning. It's about 7 a.m. Merry Christmas, everybody. 7 a.m. Christmas Day. The brisket here has reached temperature. It's sitting at about 203 on one end and 206 on the other. I can't ask for anything better than that as far as an even cook goes. Got a nice jiggle when you touch it, makes it nice. We're going to pull it off here, wrap it, and put it in a cooler just to rest till we get ready to eat. I've got a big Yeti. It'll stay in that Yeti. It'll stay hot in that Yeti for 4 or 5 hours, actually. So we'll be good to go there for supper. A couple of real quick things I wanted to cover. I noticed I was going back over some videos last night. In the early videos when I was trimming the brisket and everything, there was a bunch of power tools and stuff laying out here on this deck, and I didn't get a chance to clean them up, and they kind of look bad. I hate that. I'm adding on to my deck, and we've just finished adding on to my outdoor deck, but I hadn't had a chance to put all the tools away, so you still got to see a little of the aftermath of my construction project. The other thing I wanted to mention to you, I did the tallow. And what I did was, and I didn't mention it before, I showed you the pan full of the tallow, but I actually ran that fat through my meat grinder to make it smaller. I think you get a better yield on your tallow if you do that. So anyway, we'll pull this brisket here in just a minute, and I'll turn the camera back on, and we'll finish up our Christmas Day brisket. Okay, we've got our pink butcher paper laid out here. I'm fixing to pull that brisket and set it in there. I wanted to show you all this. Here's the beef tallow I rendered down yesterday. It's still a liquid form, but it's trying to settle up. It was really pretty clear when I pulled it off last night, or when I poured it off last night. So I'm looking forward to doing a little cooking with some beef tallow. We'll give her a shot. I've never done it before, but I'll try anything once. If it doesn't go too bad, I'll try it twice. Get out my gloves here to pull that brisket. And there she is. Oh yeah. There we go. You see, oh yeah, it's got a nice little jiggle to it. Feels good. Feels nice and done all the way through and through. So that's gonna be good. Okay, there we are. Looks good. I'm fixing to slice her up here, and we'll see what it is. See how it eats. All right, folks, there it is. It looks pretty good. Gonna eat good. So anyway, there we go. Nice Christmas brisket. Thank y'all for watching, and stay tuned. I'll promise I'll get some more up soon.